Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving me a listen. And if you love the show, drop me a review over on your favorite podcast app, or you can become a patron over at patreon.com/oldmanbrad. So we're in the third week of my holiday of horrors. Previously, you heard me talk with my wife about Black Friday. Last week, I talked to Dan from Stacking Triggers about Nutcracker Massacre. But this week, we're going to get a little bloody. And I brought in another guest, Brett from Dissect That Film. And we're going to talk Christmas, Bloody Christmas. How you doing today, Brett?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, Brett?
I am good. Middle of the holiday season. I'm watching holiday horror movies. What's not better than that, right?
Oh, it's the best. Because there's just such a wide variety of them.
There used to be hardly any, and now it's like a dime a dozen to get a holiday horror movie. They're not all good.
No, absolutely not.
Proof of the one we watched last week. It's a 1-star movie, but 5-star entertainment is what we said.
That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Where are you entertained?
It's all that matters for me. If I'm entertained for, 70 to 90 minutes, I'm good.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't need to be long.
But when you start pushing your luck and you're like, all right, 2 hours?
Or if you make a remake, another remake of a remake in Black Christmas 2019, terrible.
The fact that I almost did that on my show and we vetoed it, which is not something that happens a lot, just shows how much nobody wanted to talk about that movie.
I just watched it for the first time last week because I was like, I had no desire to see it. And I had heard many things about it. And yeah, it didn't even live up to the low expectations I had. It had potential to be good, but they should have made it its own thing, not a Black Christmas film.
Can we just stop giving them the titles and being like, oh, it's a remake, and then it has nothing to do with anything from those original movies? Like, all right.
Stop it, Blumhouse.
Jason Blum's just counting his money. Do it again.
But we're going to talk Christmas Bloody Christmas. We'll jump into Christmas Bloody Christmas here in a minute. But before we do, say if you're in the Cincinnati area, come out to Frightful Fridays on the third Friday of the month. I host a horror screening each month, and our screening for December on December 20th is Don't Open Till Christmas from 1984. This is a grindhouse slasher with a lot of production problems in the background, but come out December 20th, 10 p.m., and let's watch a movie together. All right, let's dive into Christmas Bloody Christmas.
The U.S. Defense Department has spent over $1 trillion on the most cutting-edge robot technology, introducing RoboSanta Plus for the upcoming holiday season.
What are you going to do this fine Christmas Eve?
I was potentially going to go meet up with a dude. I've blown him off twice already, so.
Come on, get a drink with your old pal, Robbie.
What's up with you two?
Just grabbing a drink.
I talk her out of some tender trash.
You didn't talk me out of anything. To Christmas! Bah humbug.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
New animatronic state-of-the-art Santa Claus featured at our own TW Bunkers is now the subject of international recall.
Santa?
It's Christmas Eve, and Tori just wants to get drunk and party. But when a robotic Santa Claus at a nearby toy store goes haywire and begins a rampant killing spree through her small town, she's forced into a battle for survival. This is written and directed by Joe Begos, and it stars Riley Dandy, Sam Dillich, Jeffrey Daniel Phillips, Abraham Benrubi, and many others. This came to Shudder in 2022. Joe Begos, his previous films, I loved VFW, and he also did Bliss and a few other films.
Bliss was insane.
He has a style, and he definitely brought that style to this. So Did you see this originally when it dropped on Shudder a couple years ago?
I sure did, because when you drop a Christmas horror movie around Christmas time, you know that I'm going to be watching it. It's when you drop like a Christmas horror movie in October, I'm like, maybe I'll wait.
Yeah.
But no, I watched this as soon as it dropped on Shudder, and unlike a lot of people, I actually really enjoyed it.
Same.
Based on what it was doing, like what it was paying homage to a lot of horror classics, and it gets to the point where it's like, oh, this is like the Terminator, and I was sold.
Yes.
I was just like, this is awesome. We'll talk about it more, but on the second on my rewatch, I saw some of the problems that others had with this movie. And
when it first came out, there was plenty of people that they had their complaints, which I could see some of those complaints, which it's on some of my notes. We'll dig into that. But I'm with you. Give me a Christmas horror movie right during Christmas, and I'm all in. And this was just pure entertainment for me. Like you said, the Terminator, it's like Silent Night, Deadly Night mixed with Terminator, mixed with hardware. Like it was, as you're going through, it's bloody ass kills, great practical work, and just mayhem. And I was like, I'm sold.
Absolutely.
But if you haven't seen this, we are going to spoil it. So just forewarned. I'm sure anyone who listens to the show should know that by now. But, unless it's a solo Brad episode, I usually don't spoil. But when I have a guest, we go all in.
Hell yeah.
All right. So Christmas, Bloody Christmas. This starts out with some interesting TV trailers, like commercials as it opens up. At first, I was like, wait, did I play the wrong thing? Even on the rewatch today, I was like, hold on, I forgot about the beginning little trailers. I love the first one that comes out about the family's whiskey, that it's good for everyone in the family.
Like what?
But this whole story, I mean, most of your story is Riley Dandy's character Tori and her employee Robbie, played by Sam Dillich. And they're just kind of, that first half hour or so, it's just them hanging out, talking music, talking movies, talking sex life, everything else.
And it's just so exhausting.
And I think that is, I know that was the biggest complaint from people when it first came out. They couldn't get into it because of that beginning. And for me, I was the opposite. I was all into this conversations they were having as they're walking along, bitching at each other. I think there's a fact out there of like how many curse words are in this movie, and there's like 587 or something like that.
Oh yeah,
because
it's so many times.
It's raunchy. They're filthy mouthed.
But this is where I can relate to them, because this is how I talk with my friends.
Yeah.
Like in person, like, of course, no kids can be around for it. But, when we're talking about things, we say the F-bomb is dropped so many times. It's just like, it's like every other word sometimes. It's just how sometimes adult conversations happen. It was just how some of the conversation was just so overdone that I was just like, ugh. I'm just exhausted. Like I was exhausted listening to their conversation. And then they get back to the house and they're just going over like best of movie franchises. And he goes Alien and she says Covenant. And I went,
he was throwing movies out and she was picking like
the worst
of the worst. Like Pet Sematary 2 is better than the original.
Which we'll back up for a second, because to be honest, I've rewatched Pet Sematary. Not as good as people put it on. Like people put it on this pedestal. It's not that good, people.
It's still good.
It's fine. It's still good. And to be honest, Pet Sematary 2 is fun and maybe more entertaining than Pet Sematary.
I will say more entertaining because it's just wild.
It's got Clancy Brown in it. Come on.
Yeah, Clancy Brown is just, his character in that movie is crazy. But they're naming off other franchises. When they got to Hellraiser, she's right. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, as Paul from the Countdown podcast knows. That is the top Hellraiser.
Pure entertainment factor. I get it.
But yes, I was into these conversations. I love them going through the music as she is picking like the bad sequels, and then he's picking out vinyl from her collection. And she's arguing with him like, no, this one's better. And he's like, no, this one, and puts it on and they play music. Like I was into that. I was totally into it. I can see where it kind of tired people out, especially if they didn't want like I don't know. I don't know if it was the language or just the subject of like, okay, we get it. You like music. Okay, we get it. You're in a dating app with this douchebag, but your employee guy really likes you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, there was some things that just kept coming back over and over again.
Yeah.
And it was like the guy she gets matched with on the dating app. It was like, okay, we get it. That joke has run its course.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We're not going to see this guy, so let's just go. I do like the bar scene was one of my favorites when it came to their conversations, because I like the barkeep. I thought the barkeep was cool. And then the cop comes in, the sheriff, or whatever he is, played by the Herman Munster from Rob Zombie's The Monsters.
Jeff Daniel Phillips. I like him. I really always liked him as an actor.
I thought he was really good because when he shows up for the first time in the bar, you kind of think he's going to be that generic like asshole.
Yeah.
He's going to come in and just be like, oh, it's just this guy, and he's just giving them shit or whatever.
Because he kind of starts out that way.
Yeah, he does. He comes in because he's having a rough time.
He is.
Except for when he talks about the dog. And I was like, okay, bro, like this is getting this. We can just stop. Just move on.
He's having a rough holiday, wife
Yeah.
and kids and everything. Yeah.
And then, of course, him making sure they get home safe or whatever. And, I thought that whole situation was good because it sets up these characters. And even with the like very bombastic conversations that they're having, you can relate to these characters. And they're I would say they're likable. Like I didn't dislike any of them. I thought at times they were annoying, but I think that's kind of par for the course in a movie like this. But it didn't like take me out. Even on the rewatch, I think it was just kind of some of the conversations felt like they took a little longer to kind of go forward. And then when they get back to the apartment, I was like, the first thing is my favorite thing is watching these movies with my wife. Like all the movies that I watch for guest spots or my own show, my wife watches a lot of them, and I love her reactions to things. They get back to the apartment or to the house that she lives. She lives with her sister, and they're just blaring music, and she's like, "Do they not live with people? Like no one's waking up to this?" They're not quiet.
No,
like it's just blasting music. They're screaming in their conversation,
and they live pretty close because you can hear their neighbors when the Santa's killing them. Like you hear things going on.
Yeah,
but they couldn't hear the music.
Clearly, the sister and her husband are right down the hall.
Yeah,
which funny enough, I didn't realize that the sister. Well, maybe because I hadn't seen the movie yet, but the sister is the main girl from is it Murder Size?
Yes, Kansas Bowling.
Yeah,
she's also in the third Saturday in October.
Okay, yeah, that's on my list, but I haven't seen that one yet.
Because when I first saw this, I didn't know who she was, but like on this rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, she's in this. I forgot.
Yeah, there she is, and she's in a lot of stuff. I guess she's gonna be in that new. What is it? Only Fangs,
their new movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Besides them, what did you think of their two friends that worked at the toy store where this robotic Santa was? This whole thing starts out, the commercial at the beginning of the movie. There's one of them that is the robotic Santa it's going to take over those crappy mall Santas, basically.
Yep.
You can tell it's just like a dude standing there, but that's fine.
Just a guy. And the majority of the movie, you're like, this actor is trying his best to pretend to be a robot. He's not doing great for the majority, but you know what? I'm fine with it. I can ignore it. For one, I love it's the Netflix host of MST3K is the guy. I can't remember the actor's name.
Ray?
Jonah Ray. Yeah. He was in was it Destroy All Neighbors? Was that the movie that came out? Yeah, that was I enjoyed that one as well. I think he's a funny guy. He's one of those like awkwardly funny guys.
Yeah.
Like it always just seems like he's in an awkward situation. He's just like,
well, this one, if I say this one, he just wants to have sex with his girlfriend. That's all he wants to do.
Bro, it's not just like there's they literally see he is face deep in those cheeks. Okay. he is hungry. He is hungry before he gets murked. So you know what? If there's any way to go out, I guess there it is. That's a pretty damn good way.
His death is pretty good too, where
it is really good. He's split like a log.
He's enjoying himself, and straight down, and he just splits in half, and you're just like, oh crap. Okay. Yeah. This is how the kills are going to happen in this movie. I'm in.
And then you get the whole chase scene around with the girlfriend or wife. I don't know if they were married. I don't think it really matters.
I think it was just girlfriend, but yeah.
I think it's a good, you get the foreshadowing of the fact that this is going to be our killer Santa. They're not subtly pushing anything forward. They're just like, no, this is going to be the guy as they walk by. Because you even have the main character there look at him kind of awkwardly and be like, what? Dude, is that one of those new Santas? Like, it's this whole thing of setting up the killer Santa, and then once that happens, that's when all hell breaks loose. And you get one of those moments where they're walking down the street and you can hear them screaming in the store, but because they know that they're having sex in there, that's all they think is happening.
Yeah,
so it's like,
they're really getting at it today.
Yeah, I was like, but to be honest, I feel there's a difference between I'm getting murdered scream and I am getting my booty cheeks eaten at.
Well, that first so kill, I forgot. The first kill scene is all like Santa POV. You're a POV of the robot as he like splits the dude in half, and then he goes after the girl. And then after that, it switches. Yeah. I don't know why it started that way and switched away. It didn't bug me, but I noticed it more on this rewatch.
I think it's to kind of, I think it's some sort of subtlety to kind of make you like anticipated on seeing the robot. Like you're like, oh man, what is this going to look like? Like we've seen it, but we like, who knows how different it's going to look once it's walking around killing people and all that. And I think it looks cool from the first person POV.
And then after he kills those two, he comes out and he sees Tori and Robbie walking. They're in a distance walking down the street. So he's like, oh, I'm going to follow them. Let's see where this takes me. Although, they get in a car and they leave. Does Santa just follows them?
Just walking. That's why they're able to do everything that they're doing at the apartment.
Oh, because he had to walk.
Because he had to walk.
How does he know where to go?
You must have you do get told in the beginning, and one of the commercials is that they are part of an old defense. Part of the defense department or whatever it was. They're like reprogrammed, robots from the defense department.
Something with his laser eyes, like
he's
honed
like,
in, so he knows or something.
Scans, and he's like, follow them. All right.
And when he gets there, he goes to the neighbor's house first.
He's like, we'll let them enjoy what the hell they're doing over there.
Which that kill on the dad in the house.
Oh yeah.
Was pretty good.
That was great.
Stomping on the stairs. The close-up face shots in this, those kills were pretty brutal. And
the violence isn't subtle.
No, not at all.
He is making sure you see every bit of that face just split in half as he is stair stomped, not curb stomped, stair stomped.
And this isn't the first head that you see something happen to it.
Oh, Lord. That's what I love about this movie, to be honest. I appreciate, I'll watch anything, but there are like some of those movies, like I'm not a big fan of like the Hostel. I'm not a huge fan of Hostel.
Okay.
I really I think going back, I don't know if I could really enjoy myself watching like the Saw sequels. Not to the fact I'm like they're gross or whatever. It's just like sometimes it's just like you kind of get tired of the same old, you know what I'm saying?
I haven't seen those Hostel movies in so long. I wonder how they hold up now in like the age of Terrifier and stuff.
Oh man, I mean, based on I haven't seen Terrifier 3 yet, but based off Terrifier 2, I would say it doesn't even hold a candle to them.
Yeah.
Like just the one scene in Terrifier 2, I think is just above and beyond. But I think it's one of those things where it's like the Terrifier series is such a hyper realistic story where it's like, this could happen, but to this extreme, maybe not.
Yeah.
Where Hostel's like, these things actually happen to people.
True.
Like, it's like so real where it's like, it makes you afraid to go travel abroad. Where it's like with Terrifier, it's this demonic clown going around killing people. It's like, it's just kind of random, right? It's not, I don't know. It doesn't seem real to me. It's entertaining as hell. I
it is.
Thoroughly enjoy those movies.
You haven't seen the third one
yet, so I'm very excited.
And there's some
drops.
There's some in that too. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh man, but I think that's what I love a lot about. Like I really enjoyed, Terrifier 2 and even Terrifier with the effects work, because it's like, it's super gross and it's super like, it's so real what they're doing, but it's like it's just so over the top that you're just like you're cringing, but you're laughing at the same time because it's just so out of control. And this movie does that. Like when he gets stair stomped, I am like, that was freaking awesome.
Yes.
Like it's not something you should be like, oh no. It's like, oh my God, did you see that?
And that's how his other movies are. Like VFW, it's the same way. Like it has just this bloody kills in it that it's like, oh, did you just see what happened kind of thing.
Oh, Bliss too. I think Bliss really, like, I don't think Bliss is as graphic as this one. And I haven't seen VFW, so I have seen the cover of it and I was like, oh, that's definitely one I want to check out. But I remember watching Bliss not that long ago, and it's just like, it's very bloody.
Yes.
It is very violent, but I feel it's more sexual than anything. It's a very sexual movie, where this one, it's like, it has its sex moments, but I wouldn't put it in that same category. This one is gory. It's just straight up.
It's not like a sensual sex moment. It's like they're going to have sex or...
Okay, the first scene, let's just talk about it, okay? Because there's 2 of them in this movie, right?
Yes.
Yes. So the first one, of course, we already talked about in the toy store. That one is probably the most graphic of the 2, because the second one it's laughable because no one takes their clothes off, and clearly he's not doing anything to her.
Yeah, he's going down on her. Apparently,
nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. They are just.
But they had a good time.
Sure.
And
cool.
then Killer Santa shows up. So
yeah, and it's funny how this movie just is like, oh yeah, we're going to introduce you to this character just to kill him. It's like she talks about her sister and her annoying husband or whatever, her lazy husband. You meet them for 5 seconds and then they die.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And then, you're so attached to Robbie, they escape.
Oh, his death though.
His death is rad as hell. Like it's so good. And you just sit, and that's the one where you go, oh, okay. No one's safe in this one.
Yeah, no.
Like we've been attached to this guy as long as we have with
we just spent
with Tori
30 plus minutes of them talking about music and movies and everything else, and you're like, oh, he's kind of a likable guy, and it feels like he's kind of connecting with her more than just an employee, and then boom, oh no, he's dead. He takes an axe to the face and you see it full up in the front of a truck, just like God.
There's just no one is safe. And I think I always appreciate that too, where it's like you can get attached to a character and then they just is like, yep, I hope you didn't like him too much because he gone. He gone. It's when you get really attached to a character and then they kill him off is when you're like, you thoroughly get upset about it. You're like, it like affects you for the rest of the movie. You're like, why? I don't want to watch this person anymore. I want to watch the person you just killed 20 minutes ago. How dare you? With this guy, it's like, I liked Robbie. I thought he was fine.
No, he was a good guy.
He worked well with Tori, and I thought it would have been cool to see if them like make it to the end, kind of fight like as a team. But you make her a badass final girl. So
he only made it to like the midpoint of the movie, and then it's carnage with a lot of head shots because as she's trying to get away, they slam into the other car, the neighbor that comes out. That was the director.
Yeah.
And his head gets split in half.
Oh, so good.
And I was like, I guess he likes headshots.
He loves it. I guess it's really easy for effects work.
It works.
I guess heads is
I think even the officer who got shot, I think it was a big headshot too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, he got blasted. Yeah. And then you have like the thing that annoyed me, I think, was that there was that one cop who's just like so
an
over
asshole,
the top,
like arrested her and like, you're going down for what you did.
And then the sheriff, he's just like, can you just relax? Like, what are you so hung up about? He's like, she just went on a murder spree. And she's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, do you think I could split that dude's head in half?
There are people dead everywhere. There's no way I'm doing this. It's just like
look at
what
me.
Are we doing? It changes Tori as a character, and I think it actually turns her into a really well sculpted final girl. Like, I think she actually does a great job at, even when she's put into a bad situation, getting herself out or planning something to get herself out of a situation. And the fact that she has to fight this thing like 3 or 4 times.
Because that finale, it's a good at least 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and it just doesn't end
because she's at the police station, and then you hear an ambulance coming. They're like, "What's that?" And he just crashes in, and Santa's there, and it's just like he's like half already like beat up. Comes out, you see the green eyes and the half robot face like the Terminator, and you're like, "Oh, the shit's on now."
Yeah,
and it's just like nonstop. This robot will not stop. He just keeps coming and coming and coming, and I loved it.
He takes out the sheriff. I love it. The dummy throw with the sheriff's body. So funny. I love dummies. in movies. And then the other cop gets killed, which I wasn't too sad about because he sucked. But then you have the whole showdown where he goes into the police station, he's stalking her, and then she's like hiding under that desk. And this is where my wife goes, he's flipping all these other desks. Why is he taking so long to flip that one? I'm like, suspense. Suspense.
Well, and she doesn't come out of this unscathed either. So she loses some fingers. She gets
rough.
pretty messed
She goes
up.
through it, man. She's covered in blood from head to toe. My favorite though is definitely the final showdown in the record store, where it is fully the ending of the Terminator, and it's the Terminator chasing after Sarah Connor, but it's this robot Santa. It's pretty much the Santa. Everything that is Santa about this thing is gone, and it's just kind of crawling around the store, like attacking her and everything. And if she gets her fingers chopped off and going toe to toe with this thing.
I love that when it becomes that all you see is like the green lasers coming out, but they like shoot out and they're just moving all over the place.
Yeah,
as they're chasing, as it's just crawling and trying to chase after her, and
the music is perfect. It's that it's that Terminator score. It just felt like I was watching somebody have some sort of a new envision of what the Terminator might be, and I just thought it was great. Like it's a beautiful homage to the Terminator. And I think some people get upset at this because it's just the end of the Terminator, and I'm like, okay, so
it's like a mix of Terminator and if you've seen Hardware, because Hardware kind of has the eyes almost like that, and it kind of same concept, both of those movies. But yeah,
I think it's just it's really well shot. I think this movie was filmed. Wasn't it filmed on 60 millimeter? It was actually filmed on film. That's where you get that kind of like grainy,
because it's very grainy.
It.
All of his movies kind of have that kind of graininess to them, and I think that's just part of his style. The graininess, and then the bright, very colorful colors. Where the Christmas lights in this, and the lights off the robot, the bright greens, the bright reds, because they really shine as everything else is kind of dark. But these lights shine out. Now I love that whole style of it.
Yeah, because this movie takes place entirely at night. From the first scene to the last, it's all in the same night, and I just think it's just really well shot. Like, there's some scenes here and there that maybe take too long, or it's like things just don't need to be happening the way they are. But I think the way everything progresses so smoothly to me, even with the weird conversations that are going on in the beginning, I think that's the only moment of the movie I went, this could get trimmed, I think, a little bit. But the movie's only an hour and 24 minutes. So I guess I can't complain too much. I'm not sitting there going, I'm bored. Can you guys shut up? And then she's like, Alien Covenant's the best. And I went, oh no. That was the only groaning I did, was like, oh, what?
I don't think you could really trim much off of it if you wanted it to be a feature film.
I think I'm just being a stickler. I think I just wanted more of what I got in the second half of the movie. And so I'm just sitting there going,
let's talk. I want the mayhem to start a little earlier.
Yeah, because I've already seen the movie. So I'm like, I don't care about these conversations anymore. I just want robot Terminator Santa carnage. And the second half of the movie is pretty much all that. And it's glorious because every kill is just so, it's like they don't hide anything from you. You're seeing everything that is happening. I think the only one they hide from us is when he kills the kid. Yeah. But it's like, I'm cool with that. Like, I understand
all you see is a far away shot where Tori sees out the window, and you just see kind of almost a silhouette kind of slumped down just like a little bit, and then the axe comes, so you don't even see what happens, which totally fine with that.
I'm cool with it. But overall, I just think this is just one of those, like, what, I need something to watch. It's around Christmas time. This could be a movie I throw on when I'm like wrapping gifts. It's Christmas Eve.
Out of 5, what did you give this movie?
Oh man, I would say a 3.5 out of 5.
That's where I am with it. I think it's a fun watch. The second half, like you said, like I did like the whole, beginning between the two, and the talk and the music talk, movie talk, this and that. But I can see where people can get, I don't want to say turned off, but kind of like bored with it.
Yeah.
Move that, instead of being, half an hour to or so, make it just a 20-minute piece and then give us a couple more head chops or something.
Absolutely.
And it'd probably move it up to a 4 or more.
It was a 4 when I first saw it. Because I think it was just that first reaction. It was the first time seeing the movie, so I was absorbing everything for the first time, and so I was like, you know what, this movie rules. Like it's a 4 out of 5. Yeah. But I think I going into it a second time, I was just kind of judging certain things a little harder, and not to a degree where it was a half point. It's not like a major fall for the movie.
I think I was the same way when I first saw it, because you come off of that high at the end, because it goes from these characters to almost like this extremely bloody slasher to a deadly robot cat and mouse. He's chasing her, and just the progression to the way it ends to where she doesn't come out unscathed, and you're just like, holy shit, this was awesome. I think the week it came out, I think I did watch it twice because I was pumped, and I actually hadn't seen it since then. So watching it again today, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. How cool this is. This is pretty cool. But yeah, 3.5. It's a higher 3.5 just because of that last half of the movie.
I'll put it at a low. I'll put mine at the lower 3.5.
Well, do you have anything else you want to say about Christmas, Bloody Christmas?
It's on Shudder. If you have Shudder, I would say check it out. Give it a chance. It's I think it's perfect to watch around this time of year. Of course, I mean, it has Christmas in the name, so I mean, I feel it has to be watched around this time. It
has Christmas in the name twice.
Oh, that's right. I thought there was 2 bloodies. I've clearly forgot the name of the movie. But yeah, give it a chance. It's an hour and 24 minutes. It's
a breeze.
If you like it, to be honest, if you like Terrifier, if you like those type of movies that are just like hyper gory, and are just like, as we stated, the movie was shot really well. I thought it looked really like, it felt like it was a modern movie, but it kind of felt like it was a movie from like the 90s. Very colorful. So very Christmassy in a way. So I would say check it out.
Absolutely. I would say the same. It's just a fun watch. I mean, complete opposite from what I gave you last week with Nutcracker Massacre to this week with Christmas Bloody Christmas. But I love them both in different ways.
The poster for that one from last week, that's pretty good.
Yes. Angry
Can't
face.
tell you what I think about the movie.
This is angry face. Thank you, Brett, for talking Christmas Bloody Christmas with me. I know we tried to, do this before, but I had to cancel on you because I'm a jerk face that way. But
no worries at all, man. Thank you for having me on. It's always a joy getting to talk to you.
So where can the fine folks out there find Dissect That Film?
We are on all the social media apps at either Dissect That Film on the majority of them, and then on Instagram and Threads, we are Dissect That Film Pod. Or you can go to our link tree. We have a link tree. It's got all of our links to all the different social medias, all the podcast apps, and our YouTube and all that fun stuff. Yeah, that's a Linktree/Dissect That Film. We're on all the pod apps. We do video forms of our podcast over on YouTube. So if you want to watch video versions of that, we're there. All at Dissect That Film.
Go check them out. They do some awesome stuff. They, just like the name says, they break it down. They dissect that film. So yes.
You want to know you want to break down the entirety of the 2017 The Mummy with Tom Cruise? Well, make sure to go listen to that episode with our good friend Brad here.
That movie is not good.
He's right.
Well, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody who's listened. Just make sure you subscribe to the show so you never miss any chapter of the show or any episode of Tales from Tubi. I'll be back soon. We have 2 more Holiday of Horror episodes coming up. I have Black Christmas with my buddy Gerald from Two Peas on a Podcast. The original Black Christmas. It's hitting its 50th anniversary.
The good one.
And then my buddy Drew from The Real Feels and I are going to talk the horror Christmas anthology, A Christmas Horror Story. So watch for those coming soon, but just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.